Good morning, guys. Hello and happy. What day of the week is it? Let me hear it. It's our favorite day. It is Friday. It goes by many names. We know we have our Freckles Friday, our Fabulous Fridays, our Fun Fridays, Frivolous Fridays, whatever you want to call it. That is what you are going to make it today, okay? I challenge you to try to make today a little extra special in anything you want to do, okay? Before we get going, you want to see? Look at my little friend. He's in the corner. He's coming out to do our morning announcements with us this morning. So I have missed making videos for you over the last few days. I won't get to always make you videos, but I really like to because I feel like it just makes it seem like we're together. And let me just tell you, I love it when you send me videos back or pictures back. I know not everybody can, but for my friends that can, I love it so much. So for today, I decided, since it's our Fun Friday, that we were going to read a new book. We have not read this book in Miss Runnels' class, okay? I'm going to give you a few hints. This book is written by Dr. Seuss. He is a huge elephant. Do you know what it is? Horton Hears A Who! I'm so excited. This book is going to be new for Miss Runnels' class too, okay? So what do we know about Dr. Seuss? What is his most favorite thing that he loves to write in? Rhyming words. Do you know what rhyming words are? Of course you do. So as we go through this, I want you to be listening for those rhyming words, okay? And what do we do in Miss Runnels' class when we hear a rhyming word? Thumbs up. So how about you do that even during this book? If you hear those rhyming words, why don't you go ahead and just give a thumbs up and be like, look at all of those. Or if you wanted to work on math, you could maybe make our little tallies, a little check mark to see how many rhyming words you hear. That could be a good idea. If you do that, let me know how many you find, okay? All right, so you ready to get started? So our book is Horton Hears A Who by Dr. Seuss. Alrighty, I'll try to get this a little bit over so we can see the pictures, and I will also show you the pictures too, okay? On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked towards the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton, but who are you? Where? He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there, but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. Muttered Horton. I'm sorry. I say, murmured Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust. Some sort of creature of a very small size. Too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that he'll blow in the pool. He has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him because, after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. So gently, and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on the very soft clover. I love these illustrations. They just make my heart so happy. Humph, humphed a voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said humph too. Why, the speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that, why, there never has been. Believe me, said Horton, I tell you sincerely. My eyes are quite keen, and I heard him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2 or 3, even 4. Quite likely. A family for all that we know. A family with children just starting to grow. So please, Horton said, as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Just please let them be. I think you're a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. You're the biggest blame fool in the jungle of Newell, and the kangaroos plunged in the cool of the pool. What terrible splashing, the elephant frowned. I can't let my very small person get drowned. I've got to protect them, I'm bigger than they. So he plucked up the clover and hustled away. Through the high jungle treetops, the news quickly spread. He talks to a dust speck, he's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walked, worrying, almost an hour. Should I put the speck down? Horton thought with alarm. If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't, after all. A person's a person, no matter how small. Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could hardly, just barely hear it. Speak up, please, said Horton. He put his ear near it. My friend, came the voice, you're a very fine friend. You've helped us all folks on this dust speck no end. You've saved all of our houses, our ceilings and floors. You've saved all of our churches and grocery stores. You mean, Horton gasped, you have buildings there too? Oh yes, piped the voice, we most certainly do. I know, called the voice, I'm too small to be seen. But I'm mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings, to you, would seem terribly small. But to us, who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, and I am a Who. And we Whos are thankful and grateful for you. And Horton called back to the mayor of town, you're safe now, don't worry, I won't let you down. But just as he spoke, the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The worksmen brothers came shouting, what rot! This elephant's talking to Whos who are not. They aren't any Whos and they don't have a mayor. We're going to stop all this nonsense, so there. They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Valid Vidvlok. A mighty strong eagle, a very swift wing. And they said, will you kindly get rid of this thing? And before the poor elephant could even speak, the eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. Look at him. Would be a good time to stop and think, what do you think is gonna happen? Make those predictions. All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight. while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, "Please don't harm all my little folks who have just as much as right to live as all of us bigger folks do." But far, far behind him that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back, "Quit your yapping. I'll fly the night through, I'm a bird, I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow where you'll never find it." And at 6:56 the next morning he did it. I'm sure it was a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. "Find that," sneered the bird, "but I think you will fail." And he left with the flap of the black-bottomed trail. Look at all of those clovers. Do you think Horton's gonna be able to find him? "I'll find it," cried Horton. "I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on that small speck of dust." And clover by clover by clover with care, he picked up and searched them and yelled, "Are you there?" But clover by clover by clover he found that the one that he sought for was just not around. And by noon, poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched, and piled 9,005. Then on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last. "On the 3,000,000th flower, my friends," cried the elephant, "tell me, do tell, are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?" From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor. "We've really had trouble much more than our share. When that black-bottomed birdie let go and we dropped, we landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chair smashed, and our bicycle tires all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please," pleaded the voice of the mayor's, "will you stick by us Who's while we're making repairs?" "Of course," answered Horton, "of course I will stick. I'll stick by you small folks through thin and through thick." I bet you're doing great sitting through this. Okay, I know this is a long book, but it's so good. "Humph," humped a voice, "for almost 2 days you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who's never existed. Such carrying-ons is a peachable jungle. We've had quite enough of your bellowing bungle. And I'm here to state," snapped the big kangaroo, "that your silly, nonsensical game is all through." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too." With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws whose help I've engaged, you're going to be roped and you're going to be caged. And as for your desk speck, that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezelnut oil." "Boil it?" gasped Horton. "Oh, that you can't do. It's full of persons. They'll prove it to you." "Mr. Mayor," Horton called, "Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove now that you really are there. So call a big greeting, get everyone out. Make every who holler, make every who shout. Make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in a bezelnut stew." And down on the desk Specs, the scared little mayor, quick called a big meeting in the Whoville Times Square. And his people cried loudly, they cried out in fear, "We are here, we are here, we are here, we are here." The elephant smiled, that was clear as a bell. The kangaroo surely heard that very well. "All I heard," snapped the big kangaroo, "was the breeze and the faint sound of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me neither." "Grab him," they shouted, "and cage the big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knots tight so he'll never shake loose. Then dunk that dumb speck in the bezelnut juice." Horton fought back with great vigor and vim, but the Wickersham game was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him into his cage, but he managed to call to the mayor, "Don't give up, I believe in you. A person's a person, no matter how small. And you very small persons will not have to die if you make yourself heard, so come on, now try." Oh my gosh, it's getting intense. What do we think's gonna happen? The mayor grabbed a tom-tom, he started to smack it, and all over Whoville they womped up a racket. They rattled tin cans, they beat on brass pans, on garbage pails tops, the old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted great toots of clarinet oompas and boompas and flutes. Great gusts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky. And the mayor called up through the howling mad hullabaloo, "Hey Horton, how's this? The sound's coming through." And Horton called back, "I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as quite strong as mine. They don't hear a thing. And are you sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every Who down in Whoville is working? Quick, look through your town. Is there anyone shrinking?" Through the town rushed the mayor, from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping. But it wasn't enough, all this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building. He searched floor to floor. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mayor discovered one shrieker quite hidden away in the Fairfax apartment 12J. A very small shrieker named Jojo was standing, just standing, and bouncing a yo-yo. Not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp. And the mayor rushed inside and grabbed that young twerp. And he climbed with the lad up the Elfelberg Tower. "This," cried the mayor, "is your town's darkest hour. The time for all Whos who have blood that is red to come up and get the aid of their country," he said. "We've got to make noises in greater amounts, so open up your mouth, lad, for every voice counts." Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat and shouted out, "Yop!" And that yop, that one small extra yop, put it over. Finally, at last, from the speck on that clover, their voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean, and that elephant smiled. "Do you see what I mean? They've proven that you are persons, no matter how small." And their whole world was saved by the smallest of all. How true, yes, how true, in the big kangaroo. And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do. From now on, I'm going to protect them with you. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too! From sun in the summer, from rain when it's fallish, I'm gonna protect them, no matter how smallish." Okay, so I know that was such a long book, but I'm so glad you stuck with me. I hope you liked it. I just want you to remember that no matter how small, you are capable of standing up for what's right and to doing the right thing and to listening to your neighbors and for taking their side, okay? All right, have a good day, guys.